what I think people responded to was two things. One, I had a lifetime of watching documentaries, so I knew what I liked and didn't like about One of the big things was, I can't tell you how many docs are made about fun things that treat them like the rise and fall of the Third Reich. And it's like, why would anyone do a documentary about toys with serious music? And like, it never, so that was part of it. And then the other part of it was, I mean, Netflix. The thing about Netflix is it's really hard to sell to them. But once you do, they leave you alone. And they let me make the show I wanted to make. And Shrak, to your point, like all my people I had worked with at that point in my career were comedy people. So I hired my friends. And we made a fun, funny show. Whereas I think other people would have, who worked on Gettysburg, and brought in all these serious filmmakers and documentarians. And I just knew we were making a dumbass show about toys. Have fun with it. And that's what we did. And thank God it worked. We had no idea if it would. I had no idea.
And did the origin for that idea, I mean, it sounds like a conversation that two guys would have over beer. Like, you remember that Voltron we had?
Yes.
Or that He-Man or that,
I remember it like it was a minute ago what happened. And it was like 15 years before it got greenlit. I was at the Borders Books, that is now, I think, a Ralph's, right next to the Beverly Center. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I was looking for a book about the origin of Transformer toys. And I remember seeing a shelf with like 9 books about the War of 1812. And I'm a big American history buff. But there was not a single book about Transformers toys. Then I started looking around the whole store. Barbie and Star Wars were the only toys that had anything, but even those books were like more about like the culture change. Like, it wasn't about the history. It wasn't like what you saw in the show. Why was Optimus Prime called Optimus Prime? Why was the truck made the leader instead of the ambulance? Like, there were no books about that. And ever since that moment, I was like, this is like the only billion-dollar business not being covered by documentaries.
Totally.
That's what it was. That's how it started.
Totally. Anne-Marie's like, I don't even know what they're talking about anymore right now.
I do, because I watched all of the episodes of The Toys That Made Us.
Okay, excellent. Beautiful. I do want to point out that in the chat right now, our good buddy Scott Jensen has a really good question for you, Brian. He's AKA Duldu Scott, of course.
Greatest scandal in history.
Isn't that brilliant? He's also helping us right now with our Seventh Rule podcast. He's helping us with our audio and making it sound amazing. So thank you very much for that, Scott. His question is, if there was any other TV sci-fi franchise you would like to do a docuseries on, what would it be?
See, I was polite to you, Brian. I could have interrupted you 20%.
You knew it was coming, right? Yeah, I thought.
Well, no. But I wanted to be, Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Ooh.
The original and the new one.
That's awesome. I was really taken by, especially in the center seat, like hearing from Ron Moore. He just has like such cool things to say. And while I was watching, I was like, wow, I'd really like to hear him talk about everything, all his projects.
Do you want to hear the greatest, not a word I use often, meta story of all time? I think this is meta. I'm still not entirely sure what that means. But
it means Facebook now.
That's right, it does. We all need to stop saying that word.
No, I like it.
So this is like around 2007. Good friend of mine was producing the EPKs for Galactica. He knew I was a fan, and he let me come up and PA for him. Now, mind you, I'm managing huge comedians selling out stadiums at that point in my life. And I'm literally like getting coffee on the set. I flew myself up. I paid for my hotel just so I could visit the set of Galactica.
Nice.
So towards the end of the day, I'm in the hangar pod. Sorry, how embarrassing, the hangar pod. They have a Viper there. They have the full-scale Viper. And my buddy goes, "Get in, man. I'll take a picture." I'm like, "Dude, can't you get in trouble for that?" He's like, "It's 6:00. Everyone's gone. Get in. I'll take a picture." So I get in. As he's taking the picture, Ron Moore walks in. He told me later he had never, in all the probably 200 days of being on set over 6 years or whatever, never seen Ron Moore walking around by himself at 6:00. And I freeze, my buddy freezes, and Ron being Ron, of course I had never met him yet at that point. Ron goes to John, my friend, "Hey, do you want to get in the picture?"
Nice.
My friend was like, "Sure." So Ron takes the picture of us with the Viper. When I was interviewing Ron for Center Seat via Zoom, I showed him the picture.
No way.
I told him the story. And he was, that's meta, right? Is that a meta story?
Yes. And so cute.
We'll say yes.
Thank you. You're very kind. But yeah, that was a highlight, showing him the picture that he took 15 years later, 13 years later.
Oh, what a nice guy.
It's awesome is what
That's
it is.
a great story. Yeah. I thought he was going to curse you out and tell you to get the hell out of here.
I know.
I've never even heard of that side of Ron Moore.
Yeah, no, he's such a sweet guy. He's an amazing man.
By the way, as somebody who's interviewed a lot of people, you can trust me when I tell you this. Boy, does that man have a good memory.
I was totally stricken by that and raving about that to everybody I talked to today. I was like, the details he remembers, even random Klingon phrases.
Yeah.
It was so blown
crazy.
Away.
And he would preface things by saying, it was a long time ago, but the paint was blue. It was cold that morning. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, these are the geniuses that do this. Their mind is just like supercomputers. So,
yeah,
Ron Moore, Ira, these guys are there's so much information in there. It's just amazing. But you got to ask the right question to get it out of them, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, we did not have the easiest time getting Ira to come in. And I get it. I mean, how sick are you talking about this stupid show? For 20, 30, 40 years, Walter Koenig, it almost was painful asking him questions. I'm like, he want to kill himself.
Did his shoulders slump when you asked him the question that he's heard 300 times?
No, he was great, but again, it was 2.5 years of his life, almost 60 years ago. He's still being asked about the monkeys. So, but when they were so, once they got in and they got it and they saw what we were doing, I think his interview was almost 5 hours. It was, Doug Drexel came in, I think 3 separate times.
Doug's awesome. Okay. Brian, update. The live chat is confirming that it is in fact meta, your story. So
thank you, live chat.
So, in case anybody was wondering, it is confirmed that is so meta.
Perfect. Great.
So we just have maybe a minute left before I know 2 of you have to run. Here's a super quick question that you probably have heard before, but we have not heard the answer to. Chuck A asks, of the new Star Trek series, if you've got a favorite.
Chuck, you want to go or I'll go? Who's going?
Probably you.
Oh, do I have a favorite?
I mean,
who am I being asked? If I'm being asked, that's the easiest question in the world to answer. Lower Decks.
I knew you and Sirach would have the same answer. Sirach, same answer, right?
Same answer.
Yeah.
That's really
actually, that's what I'm wearing right now.
It's the best new show. It's just pure comedy.
it's pure comedy, but there's also a lot of pathos. Like there are moments, especially towards the end of season 2, that made me tear up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, when, I almost gave away a pretty big spoiler. But I absolutely love that show. Love that show. That is the easiest question to answer. Don't read into that answer too much.
We are too late, but we'll strike it from the record.
Well, isn't your company making toys now also, or thinking about getting into toys?
No, we're making
Maybe we could get some Lower Decks toys.
No, I would never. So funny. One day, something good happened at work, and I texted my wife, I got great news. And she wrote back, did Eagle Moss go bankrupt? And for those that you don't maybe know, Eagle Moss makes very beautiful. I mean, I've heard they make other stuff than Star Trek, but in my world, they make beautiful Star Trek ship replicas. And I would never want to go head to head with Eagle Moss. So that's all that.
Okay. Nobody wants to go against Eagle Moss. They are a big deal and very good at what they do. Wow, there's so much more to talk about. But Brian, this has been really, really cool. We hope to see you again sometime. We are looking forward to. Yes. Can we go ahead and say that? Let the people know, Brian, about January. Yes. Yeah. So everybody, Brian will be joining us on the 7th Rule to review a Deep Space Nine episode in January. Exact episode and date to be announced later, but check it out.
Can it involve a baseball, please?
That
baseball
is
one of my favorite moments. Goldie Scott will love this. That is one of my favorite moments in all of Star Trek, not just Deep Space Nine. All of Star Trek is when Gul Dukat says, it means he'll be back.
We just reviewed that, didn't we?
Yeah.
So good. So good. This guy gets it.
Yes.
What's the episode with the most amount of par race shit? That's what I want to do. That'll be the funniest episode you ever do.
Yes.
It'll be a roast. It'll be your first roast.
We've had some roasts, right, Sarang? I mean, those first couple seasons, there were a couple roasts in there, but
oh my god, hard to roast things that live in fire caves.
What about when the two characters least likely to be into each other hook up? What about that?
Which one?
Yeah. No spoilers.
Those are my favorites.
Sarang's like, who are you talking about? Man, I cannot wait till you find out.
I'm thinking, who are the least likely?
Wait till you find out. Like,
I'll give you a clue. It involves par race.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
All right.
All right.